everyone, Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this episode of Monday Morning Musings, where we're continuing on issues of Plato and the soul and the influence on Christianity. This episode, we're going to start our elementary and surface excursion into Plato's teaching of the soul, Plato in relationship to the church. And we're going to compare Plato's doctrine to what both the Jewish scriptures and what the New Testament scriptures say. We're going to start at the end. I'm going to put out my premise, and hopefully we'll end at the beginning before this is over. In Platonic thought, we're going to get into more detail in a minute, but in a few weeks. In Platonic thought, the soul was immaterial, it was pure, it was uncreated, it was invisible, and most importantly, it was an immortal entity existing from eternity past. Now, when you come to both Jewish scriptures and Christian scriptures, you start to see that that's not how that word soul, either Hebrew or Greek, and we'll be getting into that before this is over, was understood. Scripturally, when the soul is spoken of, it's speaking of a moving, living organism, a complex, compound, material and immaterial, mortal entity with the ability to experience and resurrection life, not as a matter of its natural inheritance, otherwise not eternal because it has existed forever in time and just came out of time and came into space, but eternal in this sense, as a result of the shared life from the Creator as the gift of God. We share in the life of God. We don't exist in a deity-like state because our soul has been or is thought of as eternal. Now, if we're dealing with a subject like the soul that affects humanity both here and in eternity, I think it would do us well if we would be careful in how we use and understand the term. I just think that makes sense. And contrary to some of my other videos, I'm going to be using more notes in this series than I ever have, and more quotes, because it is a little technical and it is a little dense. And I'll be using quotes from time to time, and I just want you to be aware of that. But because that word soul has been attached to Christianity for so long, what I'm saying and what I'm going to share can sound strange, because not so much about the facts of definitions and everything, though we're going to get into that, but because of the emotional attachment to the idea as a result of centuries, literal centuries, if not millennia, of misuse because of Plato's teaching. So I'm going to read a quote. This is from, oh my goodness, I don't know, the 40s. But some research was done by the man named of Kurt Lewin, I believe. Yes, Kurt Lewin. I'm getting my reference correct here. And this is from him, and I'm going to read it to you. Methods and procedures which seek to change convictions, item by item, are of little avail in bringing about desired change of heart. And remember, this guy's not necessarily speaking about anything Christianity or believers. It's a human thing. This is found to be one of the most important experiences of those engaged in the field of re-education. And what I'm trying to do is re-educate regarding the soul. Arguments proceeding logically from one point to another may drive an individual into a corner. But as a rule, that individual will find some way, and if necessary, a very illogical way to hold on to his beliefs. And when it comes to the soul, that's what we're dealing with. There is so much attachment to it that it sounds heretical to share what the scriptures actually say. When our pet beliefs are stepped on severely, we can expect a reaction. And so when I bring out the facts that we have embraced the Platonic worldview regarding the essence of the soul, it can be very threatening. And all I can do is hope that the Spirit of God will convince you emotionally, not just intellectually, by the time we are done. And I'm going to continue on in this lesson for just a little bit. For the philosophical and sociological professionals, there are different stages of Plato's life. Some think there's 4 distinct stages. I am not going to get into the details of each stage and the development of his thought concerning the soul and each of the 4 stages, but neither am I going to take just a piece from one stage and assume that it represents the whole. But however, I do believe that the broad, high-level understanding of Plato's use and idea of the soul is consistent through every stage of his writings. So this is not about cherry picking 1 or 2 verses, passages from Plato's writings. What I'm going to present, I believe, is consistent with the greater theme of his teaching of the doctrine of the immortality of the soul. And I'll see you next time.